Good afternoon, everyone. This is TJ Muehleman, founder and CEO of Standard Co., with part 2 of our two-part series, where we walk through at a very high level Standard Data, our data platform. In part 1, we talked about the origins of Standard Data, how it's a lightweight data warehousing tool. We talked about the beginnings of your data journey, where you decide what you're going to collect, actually start collecting it with our data tools, and then manage that data securely and safely and easily. Manipulate, clean, store your data. Well, in part 2, we're going to talk about data analytics. We're going to talk about once you've collected that data, actually visualizing it and actually using that data to do something meaningful. So right now we're in my dashboard in this test account that I've created. I can see 3 different projects, and these are the projects we created in part 1. We're going to ignore those for now. We're actually going to jump into a real project that I've been using to collect data around the town that I live in, Bothell. It's outside of Seattle in the Pacific Northwest. So we're going to jump in here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what you see when you go into the project from an analytics perspective. Up here at the top, you see this thing, what we call the pulse, which gives you a sense for the activity of a project. And it's really just sort of a neat way of seeing if the project's active, if it's kind of dormant, because all data projects go through phases where there's a lot of data collection and then there's sort of a quiet period. If I scroll down, we see these 3 different data sets, which we talked about in the last section. So we'll jump into one of these data sets to see the data as it's collected, before it's visualized, before it's analyzed, before it's turned into something nifty. And you can see here, this is tracking my bike rides. So I have an e-bike. I'm a big fan of e-bikes, by the way. And I use it to take my kids to school. Sometimes I go to the grocery store on it. Sometimes I go to the bar down the street. Hey, it's a great way to get around. But you can see here that I've been collecting data as recently as 19 hours ago. The Latin long, so we support geopoints, which allows us to build maps fairly effortlessly. You can see that this particular trip I went grocery shopping, and it was 39 degrees out. Hey, it's Seattle. And that so far I've done about 401 total miles on the bike, and it was cold. So this is just an example. We've run over 4,000 different data studies on Standard Data. We have studies as simple as 10 questions like this and studies as complex as 400. So we're able to support any kind of data study you're looking to do. But on here, I can view the data, I can export it, I can sort it and search it and do all kinds of things you might do in an Excel spreadsheet. I can do right here and then export that data. But this is just the data as it was collected, right? That's not terribly useful if I want to actually start to make sense out of that data. So let me kind of walk you through the analyze section of Standard Data. So we have a lot of different ways you could take data and make meaningful, useful, you can do something, you can understand that data. The first way is with an R report. So R is a very popular statistical programming language, really powerful. So if you're you use R, we support that. And in fact, we support R Markdown, which allows you to build dashboards and web pages and dynamic, vibrant reports. We also support just a SQL query. So our backend is written on MySQL, which is the most popular open source database in the world. And so it's very simple to extract data as you want to see it, as opposed to the prescribed ways that we have it in our system. The embedded report we'll come back to. Virtual data sets. So this is really helpful in a lot of our, almost every project we have, the data is split amongst multiple data sets. So a very common paradigm we see is person, household, village, or town. So for example, TJ lives in 10038 household in Bothell, Washington. And each of those data sets has data that describes the town, the house, and the person. With a virtual data set, we can combine those into one analytical data set. Think of it as a view of the data. So instead of seeing it in 3 different rows, you'd see it as one. And that allows us to kind of more easily interact with the data. Mobile Metabase dashboard. So one thing, we have an app that's designed mostly for supervisors who are out in the field and want to track what's happening. So this app works on iPhone and Android and allows you to view dashboards inside of a native app on the phone. And this is great for tracking outliers, for tracking status of projects. Again, doing this all from the safety and efficiency of a smartphone. And last but not least, data experts. So if you want to do something that's not on this list, we're here for you. We've been building data platforms I've been doing it for over 20 years, and our team has been working on standard data for about 9 now. And so we've seen a lot of data. We've seen a lot of projects. And from this, we've created something called the Data Experience Framework. And we use that framework to help clients sort of understand what data they want to capture, how to capture it, and then what to do with that data when they're done capturing it. And so reach out to us anytime, and we're happy to walk you through it. So those are all the examples, but the embedded report is probably the most popular report that we have, and it allows you to feed your data into a data analytics platform. For example, our chosen data analytics platform is Metabase. Metabase is an open source data analytics platform that allows you to visualize data, and we'll show you an example of that. But we also support Power BI and Tableau and Stata and SAS and a variety of others. And the embedded report allows you to embed the dashboard straight here so you can see both your raw data as it was collected as well as the analyzed or visualized version of that data. For example, let's look at my e-bike tracker. So, and all of this data flows in real time, and I'll show you an example of that here in a moment. So I've created this dashboard to kind of show the status of all of my bike rides. So I bought the bike in September. I've now put on 401 miles on the bike, which allows me to do a quick calculation that we've saved about 362 pounds of carbon dioxide from going into the atmosphere from not driving. Pretty cool. One-way trips by day, you can see December, there's a big gap here because it was really cold here in Seattle, and I did not want to get on my bike. The average temp over the past 6 months is 46 degrees, which tells you how chilly it is here in Seattle. And the type of weather and the trip type. The dashboard is dynamic based on the kind of data you're collecting. So this is just one example. There's a whole variety of dashboards we have, including outlier dashboards for finding duplicates or orphan data, missing data, status dashboards for how many people were enrolled in a study in a particular time period, the breakdown of demographics by gender and age and ethnicity. So there's a lot of ways you can view your data with the dashboard. Now, let me show you real time how this works. So pay close attention. This is 401 total miles right now. So let me come here. I'm going to click web form. So we talked a little bit in the very beginning, the first video, that standard data supports Android, iPhone, and web for data collection. What that means is we have a native iPhone app, a native Android app, and then we also allow you to collect data in the browser if that makes it easier for you. So for this case, we'll show you the web form. So this web form is fairly straightforward. There's nothing fancy here, but the date, let's just pick today. The start location, it uses your location sensor on your browser to find your location. Same thing works on your phone, whether it's Android or iPhone. And again, we're just sort of demoing here. We'll put the trip end as the same. What kind of trip was it? It was a school trip. The temperature right now is 38 degrees, chilly. Trip length, the total miles I put on the bike are now 403 miles. And it is rainy and cold outside. Not good. So let me go ahead and submit that. Okay. I can submit another one if I wanted to, but I'm going to jump back to here. And I'm going to go show you that data that was just added. So you can see just now. So we've just added these records, and let's see, school trip, 35 degrees, 403 total miles, and it was rainy and cold. So this data is now in the raw form, but it's also, let's go back to our dashboard. You can see now instead of 401 miles, which is what it was a minute ago, it's now 403. The calculation automatically updates as well. The average temp automatically updates, taking into account that it's 35 degrees out. And all of these things are updated as well. The point here is that when you have a system like standard data, you can collect data very seamlessly and very quickly and very efficiently, but you can also see the results of that data very quickly, very seamlessly, and very efficiently. And if you're going to make real-time decisions, having data like this allows you to make those decisions and be confident in your decision-making. So hopefully this is helpful. Again, this is just a high-level walkthrough of the analytics section of standard data. We'll be doing more deep dives into various components of our platform. So we'll show you how to create forms that we talked about in the first video. We'll show you how we use Metabase. In fact, we've got a lot of Metabase video content on our YouTube channel for how do we create YouTube or Metabase videos and all the other features and functionality in standard data. It's a robust platform that allows us to quickly and efficiently stand up new surveys and new data collection projects. So hopefully this is helpful. Look forward to hearing from you. Take care. Talk soon.